One of the things that I am going to emphasize this year, that last year we kind of said this would be a good thing, but this year I'm going to say if you're not doing it, then you're missing a huge opportunity, okay? Last year at the training, we kind of went through some circle things, and then I think we actually had a circle. Do you remember? I think we actually did one. It was kind of abbreviated. We're going to have to abbreviate this today just a little bit, but it's talking about relationships. Remember the word relationships. Please say relationships. Guys, that is what we're talking about today. Every book I'm reading, everything I'm reading says if you're not building relationships. I've told my staff, I told Mike this the other day, that probably the greatest regret I have in my life is not building relationships with my players. And I was I was the coach, you're the player. I tell you do what? Very little relationship building. And I think later on as I've come, I don't have a relationship with a lot of them. Some of them I do, but I don't have a relationship with a lot of them. I really messed up when I started coaching girls. And I did not have a relationship with the girls at all. And some of you are going, well, that's good, Mr. Vine. I know, yeah, but I mean, I didn't have any kind of, it was like coach, player, and everything is separated. I can remember before the state tournament coming in one time, and we actually won the state tournament, and I came in and they were talking about a problem that was going on in school. I got so mad I couldn't even imagine. I didn't care what the problem was. Didn't want to get right then. They were supposed to be now I could have handled that different, but one of the things we're going to talk about in relationships is don't break them. You can use your emotions, but don't break your relationship. So I think it's critical to do that. So circle, the reason I'm saying that is circle is to build relationships. One of the reasons, if you were to come into our school, which you're welcome to do at any time, by the way, guys, and watch a circle or watch even kids interact, you're going to see the most open, the most accepting school that you could probably ever imagine, because we've built that culture, and a lot of it has to do with circle. Now, you ask the kids, do you like circle? They're probably going to say no. Okay, but there's not a hassle. They get in it, they know it. You learn to know everybody in circle. You get to understand a little bit of the depth. We had one girl say, my dad was molesting me in circle, and it was like, it was kind of bad, because it was and it wasn't. We've had some that came up and said, I'm thinking about suicide. We've had some that come up, and although most things don't get that deep, circle is a time for them to get to know each other. If they get to know each other, they're building a relationship that some of them hadn't had ever in school. And although it may be a relationship where I know that person a little bit more, I know how to relate to that person. So if you don't have something like this, then what are they going to do? They're coming in, and you've got cliques that are all over the place that are going to happen anyway, but that never expand out to look at other people. So let me tell you a couple of rules, and then I'm going to tell you can go to the website, and on the training there is an extensive thing about circle. So we're not going to talk about that as much right now, except I'm going to give you some rules for today. All right, today. What's said in circle stays in circle. So he's going to give one or two. I'm going to let Mike go first here, and he's going to give one or two that are on the video, and he's going to shut the video off. Not that I'm afraid, but that's just a rule. Circle, you don't go outside circle and say anything. Now you're going to have some that are going to come in and say, wait a minute. You're going to have some parents. We had a parent come in and say, look, if something happens in my school, my kid can come tell me. And we had to evaluate that. We backed off and we actually went to the kids, and we came up with this, which might help you. No, you don't. What's said in circle stays in circle. Nobody goes outside circle and says anything, unless, if you want to, then you can ask permission from the circle. Okay, so if somebody says something, and they can go ask permission in the circle and say, yeah, we give you permission, you go tell your mom.
So
now,
a molestation situation, you would have to.
Oh gosh, we had to do that, yeah.
But I mean, you would.
Yeah. But
chooses not to allow
We tell them up front.
Yeah.
to be in the circle.
Do what?
What if a parent chooses for their kid not to be in circle? We've had that happen in a counseling situation where they said, we don't want our kid saying things, so we don't want them in circle.
That's not an option.
So if they're at your school,
If they're there, they're in circle. Now, there's enough leeway. Mike, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say is we tell our kids, guys, you understand if you tell us you're involved in some kind of illegal activity, we got to go to the authority.
Yeah.
So, we suggest that you keep that to yourself.
yeah, but the molestation, sometimes they
Yeah.
do, they'll.
Well, this particular girl had already told a teacher, and she had already actually said we already kind of deal with that, but she brought it up in circle when nobody else knew. That was my point. It wasn't that we found out there. We had found out a little bit earlier. So I'm sorry about being a little misleading there, but we tell them we have level 1, 2, and 3, and you'll see this. Level 1, surface. Level 2, a little deeper, something that you'd tell your friend. Level 3, you'd only tell your counselor. And we're saying level 3s, and I'll tell you what, at the end of last year, we had level 3s come out. And we had to be very careful, and you have to navigate through that because we're not trained counselors, we're not this. But it was the kind of thing the kids knew what was going on. So you got to be careful there. Now, on the other hand, you want to start off easy. What's your favorite movie? What'd you do this summer? Just whatever. Start off easy, and you can get into, by the time you get to semester and the end of the year, you're talking a little bit deeper stuff. Okay? So here's the deal. What's said in circle stays in circle. You always respect people. You don't talk over anybody. You have good posture, so you can't slouch. You have to have good posture. You can't. You have to help me out here.
No, can't use your phones.
Can't use your phones. You can't use your phones at all. You can't. You can't be critical. Okay.
No judge.
You're accepted. No judgmental. It goes on during circle.
You require a response from everybody? Like everyone must respond?
I don't know is not a response.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Each person has to contribute.
Everybody has to respond, and that is a good point because again, and we don't. You need to go to the website and really look through this, especially you guys if you haven't done it before, and if you're not. But by allowing a kid, how many kids come to your school or ALE and have sat in the back of the class and never said a word in the class? And so the parents will come up and say, well, here's Johnny. Johnny's really shy. Now, how many of y'all know of any positive thing any positive reason for somebody to be shy? Somebody said, well, that's just the way they are. Not really. Okay? Now, there are people that will have a tendency toward shyness, but I can't tell you how many kids have come into ours, not saying a word, not doing anything, but after 6 months, a year, the parents will go, what's wrong with them? They're talking. They're not near as shy. They're more assertive. And it's because they learned it in circle, because they have no options. Other than that, you're in your classroom, you have a little bit more option. You're in circle, no option. You have to respond. Now, do you have some respond very surface? That's fine. That's okay. Saying I don't know is not a response. I'm going to ask you, what is the time in your life right now? What is the time in your life that you have been, and we kind of went through this a little bit, but where you have been, where you have been the victim, where you have played the victim card? Where in time in your life where you have played the victim card? Okay, and how did that work out for you? That's the question. Now that's a question we might pose to our school or to you or your school. So whatever the situation is that you're talking about. Now we don't do workbooks on Mondays, we do circle on Monday. You could do, the place that I learned circle from 5 years ago did circle every day for 6 weeks, every day. And We just found we don't, okay? So for whatever, and you'll find in your situation, maybe in your different situation, what would it be? How will we do this? Once every 2 weeks might be okay. I don't see a problem with that. But if you're doing it once a month, I'm not sure there's a whole lot of value. But you'll find a lot, I'm just telling you, you'll find a lot of positive characteristics come out of being in Circle. So let's start Circle. What else did I forget?
Well, you gonna let me start? You
Yes.
or am I going?
No, you are.
All right, the first thing, I got some people with people sitting behind them.
I know, but
If you guys don't mind, can we
Okay.
just back up a little bit so everybody can see everybody's face? I think that's real important, that we make eye contact as we're going around Circle. Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard.
You can come out.
Well, we usually ask, first thing I want you to do is respond with your, what we call a positive mental attitude. Where are you mentally on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being I'm not very, it's a real downer, my mental attitude's over it. 10 being I'm very, I've got a great mental attitude, great positive mental attitude. So assess where you are and what's your positive mental attitude. I think probably the first thing, did everybody drive in this morning? Everybody drove, so bring up one thing that was memorable about your trip over this morning, one thing that you did on the road, something that happened in the car that was memorable, the most positive thing that happened coming over this morning. And then the question that we're going to do is...
Yeah, one time in your life that you have been the victim or played the victim card. Okay, yeah, and I think we just need to start with volunteers.
Yeah, that's what everybody... Sometimes we go around in order, but I think like for me right now, I can't think of one. I had a different question in mind, so whoever has one that's ready to go can go, and then we'll just go around till everybody's gone.
Are we responding with all three of
All
those?
three, positive mental attitude, something that happened.
And your name.
Yeah, your name too, I'm sorry.
Okay. Hey, I'm Corey. Been sober now for, I'm kidding. Mental attitude.
Yeah, now you just offended somebody, but that's okay.
Well, I'm kidding about the sober part. I'm not.
No, you're not.
Just
I'm about an 8 on the mental attitude deal. Looking forward to a good school year and looking forward to learning some more new stuff here today, and that's the deal. So about an 8. On the drive over, just in the construction zone on 70 coming in. I'm not sure this is a positive thing, but it's something that's very memorable. It's 2 lanes, close traffic in the construction, and somebody was on one of those like Ranger or Mules or whatever, and he jumped out of the oncoming traffic into our lane and was coming right at us as we were going through, and there was a bridge, and my wife was like, oh my gosh, I thought we were going to kill the guy, and he got over in time before we got there, but it was just as the sun was coming out, and it was beautiful. She said, the sun's coming out, oh my gosh, there's a guy in our lane. So the victim, I guess I'm still playing the victim in this scenario. Last fall, even in implementing as much stuff as we could through this deal, we had 3 students that involved in the juvenile justice system. I shared this with my study buddy earlier, but involved in the juvenile justice system, and we've been to court, we've been probation officers, we've done all these things and trying to help the kids, and we were trying to do all the stuff that we could with our curriculum and all that stuff, and ultimately it just led to the expulsion, and we felt like I had no other option. That's the victim part. I've got no other option than pursue this course of action for these kids. And so I don't know if they're going to even come back to us starting in a couple of weeks or where that's going to be, but I've been able to, I guess, continue to play the victim and say, we did all we could, and I've got no other option, no other recourse, there's nothing else I can do, and I still feel like I'm the victim of the circumstance rather than somebody who might have been able to do something about it.
Okay. Very good.
Now, let me say this. You have somebody like Corey that comes in and says this. Can you, in Circle, say, what would y'all have done about that? And you can. So it's a learning time. It's not, so you could even say, how would y'all have responded to that? Or what, do y'all have any help with Corey here? So it's again, kind of figuring out what's going on. Okay, so Shirley. Shirley? Cheryl. Okay, Cheryl.
Don't call me Cheryl.
Shirley, don't call you Cheryl. Cheryl, what did you learn about Corey?
What I learned about Corey, and I could get this from the way he acts to me, he's very upbeat, and but he takes his kids to his heart.
Okay, what else did you learn about him?
That he might want to paying more attention to the road, not the sunset.
Okay, and maybe that he's married, all right?
Oh, yeah.
And brought his wife, wherever she is. Dropped her off somewhere. That was what I was thinking. Where did he drop her off?
She's driving, she's got.
Oh, that's true. Okay, she's got the car. Okay,
It's okay.
all right.